We opened the dojo talking about dreaming a deeper dream, dreaming a new and more beautiful dream of what relationship can be. And it's not just your intimate, personal, romantic relationship, it's all relationship. And what we are really, what we need to confront here is our projection bullshit. When it comes to dreaming a new dream, how do we give ourselves permission to dream a new dream, to envision something we've never actually seen before, right? Something new. And what projection bullshit essentially is the stories about the way the world is based on what's old.
Right. Our interpretations of the world and others and how life is, right? Our interpretations through the lens in which we're looking.
That's right. And let's be real, humans love our stories. We love our stories. We've been telling stories around the campfire, painting stories on cave walls, making songs of stories, writing scriptures, creating whole religions about the story of how things got to be the way they are and what's really going on, sort of beyond the obvious. And we have our movies and our YouTube and this right here. We love stories. And we're not going to stop loving stories. And this isn't about not telling stories.
Right.
This isn't about not projecting, because this building that we're living in and so much of the world that we take for granted was just an idea in somebody's mind once. It's here because somebody projected it into reality. The true mission is how we start to consistently tell the most beautiful stories possible, because it's the story I tell at the end of the day about what's going on that informs my behavior and how I show up and how I'm able to respond to whatever the facts are out there in the world, whatever objective realities there are in front of me. It's the story I tell about it that informs how beautifully I get to respond.
Right. And this is really about becoming the author of our most beautiful life, because as Joshua was saying, we're not going to stop telling stories. Our mind is a meaning-making machine, right? It's constantly taking in information, seeing a picture before it, and interpreting what that means, right? And so much of that is based on our past experience, and we'll go deeper into that later. But how do we actually become conscious and aware of the stories that our mind is constantly telling, and then kind of like get curious and check in and do a little bit of a reality check of, is my interpretation, is the lens that I'm looking through really the clear lens, the most beautiful lens that I want to be seeing the world through? And how does that impact my relationships?
Yeah.
And how can I then actually, choose the lens that I'm looking through instead of that default, habitual, unconscious old lens that might not be serving me in my relationships?
Yeah. And the fundamental mistake we make with projection BS is that we are mistaking our projections for facts. We are mistaking the story that we're telling or the meaning that we ourselves are making and attributing as an inherent quality of what's happening, or as true as the facts.
Right.
And it's not true. It's a story. And everything that we're telling here is a story. Like, we are in the midst of projection magic, because what we're doing is we're wrestling our stories back from where they came from. And we'll talk more about that. We're making them more and more conscious. When I'm projecting an unconscious story through my lens onto reality and responding to it, I'm likely going to be creating more frustration, more disconnection in my life.
Right.
So how can I become conscious of what I'm interpreting, of the ways that I'm putting good and bad, right and wrong on things, the ways that I'm predicting the future and certain of a certain kind of outcome, or the way that men are, or the way that women are, or the way that the world works? How can I withdraw my investment from these unconscious stories and start to get curious about the world as it is? Because the main thing that happens when we get caught in a projection about somebody is I stop being curious about her the moment I think I know who she is and what she's about. And I know what her motivations are. Right. And I know, what I know, I cease to become curious about. And curiosity is one of the most exquisite resources we get to cultivate in relationship, in alchemical intimacy.